Alright, back by popular demand, the lowdown on the revolution. Since the end of the French and Indian War, when we showed the French we wouldn't take it no more, Britain and America were hating on each other. They just couldn't stand the sight of one another. Even though they were once allies fighting on the same side, now they wish the other one had prematurely died. They only worked together because the French just couldn't stay. Now that they were not a problem, here is what they had to say. Yo, subjects, listen up, your army's pretty weak. Why should we help you when your situation's literally pretty bleak? At least we didn't stand in line just waiting to get hit. Your strategies are whack, and that's legit. Now the British needed money and they hated our country, and when they put two and two together, the plan was easy to see. Sugar Act, Stamp Act, the Coercive Acts too. These guys were making taxes out the wazoo. Americans weren't happy with the price on things like tea, so in response they got their boys called the Sons of Liberty. They had a few rebellions. Boston Harbor they did flood, but little did they know that they would soon be shedding blood. In Boston one night when the snow was on the ground, the colonists found angry British standing all around. When they pushed them just too far, the British took their shot. 5 colonists had died right there on the spot. It was the Boston Massacre, and the very first time the British captured an American of any kind. They were the first of the bullets that started many more in what would be known as a Revolutionary War. Not too much longer later, in a place called Lexington, the British found themselves advanced, the Minutemen. They came up to a standstill and their guns became unfurled. Then somebody fired the shot heard around the world. Before anyone knew it, something huge had just begun. From the second that they fired shot number 1, because from that day on, the boat would start to spill again for the right to the independence of the patriot men. So this guy called Thomas Paine published his Common Sense, and we signed the Declaration of Independence. Our homeboys are free, and they like to celebrate, but first it is the British they have to eliminate. We roughed them up at Bunker Hill and kicked them out of Boston, but no matter what we did to them, they always came back often. Their armor was too great for us. We thought that we were done. But then came our daddy-o, George Washington. A shining ray of hope in times of desperate need. Old Washington was sure that he could get all of us freed. The guy knew what he was doing. He had a head full of smarts, and now with him on our side, we started beating those old farts. On Christmas night, he led us right across the Delaware, so we could catch the sleeping British while they weren't still quite aware. We captured every one of them and put them all to shame. What started as a struggle had become a child's game. Cornwallis tried to fight, but then he gave up and retreated, and at Saratoga, all the Brits were handily defeated. And that was when the French realized that we were for real, so they sent us all their troops so that we could seal the deal. Once we had the extra men fighting with us by our side, that was when the Patriots started to turn the tide. The British kept on losing while Americans were styling. Those guys never had a chance. You should have seen them. They were wildin'. Eventually, they knew they had lost and finally quit. They waved the white flag because they just couldn't take it. The British were defeated. They were finished. We had won. The Treaty of Paris meant it was finally done. That is how we crushed our foe like they were little fleas. And let it be a lesson to potential enemies. Anyone who hates us needs to think that we're the best. Before you attack, just think, do you really want a mess?
Woo! Good job.